Hello, I'm Kayla and I'm really glad you're here today. I had a really good reading May. I ended up completing 8 whole books, 6 physical books, and 2 on Kindle. They were 2 Kindle that I actually already owned, so some rereads for me. And that physical number of books read is a really high number for me. It's the highest number of a month that I've had in many years, and I'll attribute that to some really great library trips that I've been taking. My books are actually due back in a couple days. I have one left that I just started, and I'm trying to decide, do I renew it? Do I keep it? What is the reason I haven't been able to pick it up and stick with it all of this time? I've had it now for 2 reading cycles, and then you start to feel bad. Does somebody else want it? I don't know. So like I said, that was 8 books I read this month. It was just under 3,000 pages. It was 2,935, which I must attribute a good bit of that to my 24-hour reading challenge that I completed a few weeks ago. If you haven't gotten a chance to watch that video, go head up. It's up on my channel now. That was so fun. And looking at my reading goals for June, I'm like, am I going to end up doing another challenge to try to make sure I'm reaching my goals? Speaking of reaching your goals, this month I finished my Goodreads challenge. My Goodreads challenge for the year was 25 books. It's the most that I've read in a calendar year in many years. So I'm really proud to have already crushed that number. And then looking at it, it's June now. I have half of the year left. So my new goal to myself is to try to double my initial reading goal. That's right, I am going to try to read 50 books this year. And I think if I keep up on the pace I'm on, I won't have a problem meeting that goal. Which then leads me to my June challenge to myself. I really am just in a good reading groove, and when I'm in a good reading groove, I don't want to stop. So I want to keep up the momentum that I have right now, crush through June, and my goal is to read 10 books this month. I don't know. I truly, we're going to go along. We're going to see. I'm going to try really hard, but we'll see. Can I do it? 8 last month. Can I add 2 more? And don't worry, I'm not just going to chit chat today. I'm going to take you along with me to the pool. I'm going to try to get some reading done, and then I'll bring you along for a weekend dinner at Disney Springs. The first book I finished this month was Good Fortune by C.K. Chow, and I was all set to rate this one 4 stars. I was really loving it until like the last, I hit like 80% into the book. And those last, there's like 2 fights at the end. They were just so incredibly unnecessary to me, and it didn't go along with the pacing of the book. I just didn't really feel like it fit. It was just like a race to end it. I appreciated the ending, but I felt like we crawled to a sprint, and then she sprinted us there and then gave the winner the medal, and like pictures were taken, it was all done. Like way too quick. So there wasn't enough fanfare to celebrate the win and the ending that we got. I would read another book by her, but this one just wasn't really my favorite. Next up, I had a reread, and I'll actually just talk about the two books that I read. So I am doing a reread of the Keaton Chronicles, which is a series by Julian Dodd. I read the first two books this month. The first one is Stalk Me, and it follows Keaton, who is our female main character. She is going to high school, dealing with normal relationship and boyfriend issues, but the big twist of the first book is that she has a stalker that is following her, and so she needs to escape and hide from the stalker. So the rest of the series is all set along there. The second book picks up right where the first one started, and Keaton has taken on a new identity, and she is at boarding school, and she's starting to make friends and really just come into her own. This was the second book of the series, even though I love it, even though it's a 5-star read for me, and that's just because I love the characters. And when you have that kind of nostalgia towards a character, there's some leeway that you give a book. So I'm not saying everybody would rate this a 5-star read. I'm saying that it's a 5-star read just because of how it makes me feel and the way that Julian Dodd creates this world that I just want to be in. It's incredible. I love it. But the second book has so many just like second book tropes. Like there's multiple guys, but she's mean to the one guy, and it just makes me so mad. And you don't like to see it. So you're watching Keaton make these mistakes. Ugh. So it was a second book read for me. But again, I just love being in that world, being in that universe. I also just can fall right back in. I read this, I read Stalk Me, and then I read a couple other books, and then went back to read Kiss Me when I finished it during my 24-hour reading challenge, which it was a blessing during my reading challenge because my brain was so tired. I wanted to go back to a world that I had already built in my head, one that was really nice, and I could read it on my Kindle. I could make the font really, really big. It all just helped. So this is a series that is near and dear to my heart. I started a reread of it so I could make a comprehensive video about the whole series. So that is my large project that I am working on, undertaking, and I can't wait to share some more of that with you all. Going back to some physical books, the next thing I read was Meet Me at the Lake by Carly Fortune, and this is the first Carly Fortune book I've ever read. I thought it was pretty good. I really enjoyed the style it was written in, which is a then and now type format. So you're hearing the story from the female main character's point of view, but she is also telling a story from her past. I did enjoy that way. I enjoyed Carly Fortune telling the story in that way because of the way it got us to the main climax in the book. There were a couple things that just bothered me. One of them being the ex-boyfriend character. He was just all up in her grill. And there were just a couple themes in this book that I understood them being in there, but I didn't understand them being in there because I felt like they could have played a more predominant role if they were pushed to the forefront instead of just kind of like stuck in at the end. So I this was a solid 4-star read for me. I will probably try to read some Carly Fortune again. I've read some spoilers about one of her other books, so maybe I stay away from that one, but we'll see. And then this is a book that you saw me reading earlier by the pool. This is Girls with Bad Reputations by Xio Axelrod. So cute. So absolutely adorable. I also read this one. I finished this one during my 24-hour reading challenge. So go check that out if you haven't. You'll hear my in the middle of the book thoughts, but I just thought this one was overall super super cute. I like our couple, our female main character, her name is Kayla, so I really just like, I was like, I gotta read that book. And this is also the second book of the series. This book series follows a all-female rock band named the Lilies. And fun fact, the author has created assets for the band. So there's a band website, there's an Instagram page, there's even their song Hurt You. It's out on Spotify. I thought that was just really, really cool. All the details surrounding this world. And then once you finish the book, in the back, there are playlists. There's bonus material like the whole about the band, the music, the musical score for their song Hurt You, and their tour dates, their running set list, like just really really awesome thought into this book, as well as a nice reading group guide. I could definitely see myself going back and reading the first, The Girl with Stars in Her Eyes. I don't know if this is going to be an ongoing series, but I definitely appreciated this one. And if you love any type of music and you love contemporary romances, you need to get this one now because it is just such a perfect mix of both. Next up, I finished The Woman in Me by Britney Spears, and I won't say this is an easy read. It's a simple text, but it's a really heavy story if you know about any of the abuse that Britney suffered when she was in her conservatorship. Hearing her tell the story with her own words is just extremely powerful, and it's sad to hear what happened to her and the feelings that she still has to work through every day because of the treatment when she was younger. This book gave me a whole new level of respect for what she went through. It's just really, really horrible. But I'm glad that she is free now, able to tell her story, and is taking back control of her life. Anybody that is a fan of Britney Spears, I recommend you get this one. I found it at my library the last time I was there, and it had just gotten put in the news section. There were 5 copies of it there. I was thrilled. So maybe it's hitting public libraries everywhere. If you're not looking to purchase this one, but you really want to read, I recommend you going to find it and renting it. Keeping with the theme of books that were heavy, I have this one, The List, which I don't think this is considered a contemporary romance, but I also don't know if this would be considered a thriller. I guess maybe this is just like a contemporary novel. The List follows two couple. This is Yomi Adegoke. I don't know. This book follows a couple. They're based in the UK. They both have some independent ties to communication that is puts them in social media, puts them in the public eye. And their wedding is about a month away when a social media list comes out alleging multiple men of horrible allegations stemming from abuse all the way up to rape. Her fiance is named on this list, and you see the fallout immediately about what everybody is going to try to do. Nobody knows why he is on the list. He claims that he did not do the things that is listed on this list, and it was so compelling. It was one of those books early on, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to know how this ends. But then I was like, there isn't a good solution. Nobody is going to win. I didn't love the way our female main character was handling things, but then I stepped back and I was like, what do I want her to do? I don't I don't have any advice for her, and she probably feels the same way. So this was a complicated book. I think I rated this one 3.5 stars. There, the ending, it's whoo, the ending. I did not see it coming. It hit me right in the face, and yeah, yes. So this was a thriller. This wasn't a happy book, but it's one that I am super, super glad I picked up. And just sometimes when you're reading the same thing, you can get some reading fatigue. My hope was that this one would refresh my genres a little bit, and it absolutely did its job. And then going back to the genre that I love to live in so much, contemporary romance, I picked up a Tessa Bailey book because I've never read her before and I thought it was time to dabble in. This is Fangirl Down. This is her latest release. I believe it came out in like March. It's definitely a spring book. It is a golf book. I enjoyed it. I think I was just talking to my friend about this. Like, Tessa Bailey books feel like ones that are just kind of supposed to, you enjoy them in the moment. They're in one ear and out the other. And this one felt like, yeah, no, absolutely could be there. I will say, and I put this in my reading journal review, which is why I have to bring it up. The spice in here just was, it was different, which I'm all for different things. But then I realized what made me so like about it was that it was always male dominated. And so I felt like, who is that for? So I don't know. I will go back and read some more Tessa Bailey books. I want to give her a fair shot. I've seen a bunch. I feel like there's, yeah, like a whole big list of them. So lots of places I can start. Do you have any Tessa Bailey recommendations for me? Did you read Fangirl Down? And yeah, how are you feeling about this one? Because I like really wanted to like it. I also just felt like our main male character like was a jerk, but then did little things to like make up for the fact that he didn't treat her well. And I hate that trope. Like the he treats her bad, then he treats her good, and she's all goo goo over it. Like, no, like he was treating you bad. Let's go back to remembering how that feels. But to each their. Okay, and I just wanted to talk about one bonus book that I started in May, and that is Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. And I am so happy that I found this series, and I found it just because everyone was talking about it, but I'm also mad because I feel like I have been missing the boat. This series is literally exactly what I love to read. I don't know if anyone else read the Fallen Crest series by Tejan, but I like was in the middle of Binding 13 and I was like, oh my god, this is Fallen Crest. Like, this is, I'm getting the same feels. Shannon is giving so much Sam. And now I am just like, I need to finish the whole Boys of Tommen series. I need to go back and reread all of Fallen Crest, and I need to just like get my thoughts in order around it. But I really, really see the similarities. I feel the similar vibes between both, and I want to know, has anyone else read them? Both series. Am I alone? I don't think I am, but let me know. And then I will take you along in the fall when I do my Tejan Fallen Crest reread, because she is coming out with the 8th and final book in the series, Mason, who is our male lead throughout the series. And so it seems like it's going to be a book from his point of view, but there isn't really an excerpt or a blurb out yet. Like, Tejan is just like, there's a publishing date, that's it. No, nothing else that we know. So I need to do that. I need to get the reread done. And yes, now my life has been changed for the better that I read Binding 13. I am in the middle of keeping 13 right now. I started it, it's like crazy. I started binding 13, and then it took me like 6 days to get up to like 18% in the book, just because I had like a lot of things going on. We had visitors, just, life wasn't because I couldn't get into it. But then I hit that 18% in, and then it was like, oh, I'm hitting 50. And then it was like, oh, the next morning I'm reading all day. And then it was like, I'm reading at night. I'm about to finish it. Oh my God, I finished it. I need to start keeping 13 right freaking now. So, if you know. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope my May reads inspired you and maybe even my June goals. What are your reading goals for June? For me, it's summer season, so I am going to push myself to read extra because there is just something so satisfying about reading during the summer. I think it's those old summer reading challenges and the fact that it is so warm here in Florida. I need to be inside during the daytime. Please consider liking, leaving a comment, and of course subscribing so you know when my latest videos are coming up. I really enjoy being a part of this community and can't wait to continue to grow all summer long. Have a great day.